Hey everybody, welcome back to Urban EDC. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded anything, and I apologize for those of you that have been waiting around for something. I mean, a big part of that honestly is just because I haven't been picking up any new knives or gear, so there's that element of it, and also just getting busy with other stuff in life. So this is my first pickup in a while actually, and so that's why you're getting a new video. Yeah, and so some of you may recognize this logo. This is a knife from Null Knives, Null Knives. In case you haven't heard of them before, which you probably have if you're watching this video, to be honest, but in case you haven't, relatively new designer slash brand, based out of New York, Sean Lum. This guy right here. This is he's the, I guess, yeah, the guy. He's Null Knives. So. He's done, I think at this point, like, there's been two, this is the third, as far as I know, of his released production models. And so this is a knife that I did not get in on the pre-order for, but I, the more I saw pictures and videos of it, the more I thought, I think I want to at least get my hands on this knife, see if it's for me. Even though it is a larger knife, and I tend to lean towards smaller knives, just in terms of practicalness for practicality for carrying. But yeah, this is a knife that I thought, oh, this would be cool to have. I love the aesthetics, but I try to be a little more balanced in how I decide what to purchase, not just based off aesthetics. And so, there's the fact that he's also like an up and coming designer whose work has been pretty well received, I would say, for the most part. I like his aesthetic, his design language, and he is, I think, like, Asian American guy, and I am as well. So I think it's cool to support Asian American designer in this community, because I don't feel like there's too many Asian American makers in the space of the knife world. So yeah. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. I have not been inside the box yet. I got it out of the packaging. It got shipped in, but I have not been inside this box yet. So this is truly my first impressions with this. So actually, that's cool. I haven't seen many. I don't think I've had any knives that come like that. Here we go. This is the Null Knives Voodoo. I got the black micarta with the titanium bolster, the like PVD, I think, is bolsters. If you look at the case right here, yeah, black PVD bolsters, I guess, with the black micarta scale right here. So yeah, this is it. So this was not a pre-order, but he released some on his website very recently. A few days ago, actually, like last week. So as of the time of when I recorded this. So unfortunately, they're all sold out, in case you were interested in getting some. But if you are interested in getting a Voodoo, go to his Instagram or his emailing list, and he mentioned some retailers that will be carrying a few in the near future. So, yep, this is the Null Voodoo. It feels nice and hefty in hand. But yeah, I'm trying to, let's see if there's any flaws, any sort of marks to note. I can't tell if I think this fuller here is supposed to be like blasted or something like that. I can't tell if the unevenness is like some sort of dirt or something like that. But anyway, yeah, it looks good so far. So we're gonna go ahead and let's see how centered this is. Yeah, it looks pretty dang centered to me. I believe the OEM on this is Rayot, however you pronounce that. So, they're widely regarded as one of the best production manufacturers, like knife manufacturers in the business. So, I think this would be the first Rayot made knife that I've handled or owned, at least. So yeah. Let's go ahead and open this. Very nice. Okay, so that was with the reverse look. Let's do Oh, wow. Okay. There we go. Okay. Takes a little bit of a, need to get a good grip on that. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Yeah. I just need to learn the angles on this. I can't remember what he calls this, but it's like, you know, a triangular thumb stud is what this is. So it's on both sides as well as the fuller. So yeah, that reverse flick is feels like it requires a lot less, not a lot less, but a noticeably less amount of force behind it. So yeah, it feels very smooth on the, like once you break that detent. Yeah, it feels very smooth, hefty. I mean, I think the blade is like 3.6 inches, something like that. So this is one of the largest knives I've ever owned, and definitely the largest that I own. Or sorry, one of the largest knives I've handled, and definitely the largest that I own, I think, in terms of blade length. So yeah, it feels nice and hefty in that regard. Let's see. So it's not dropping shut on its own, but it doesn't take too much persuasion. Yeah, which that's fine. It doesn't need to be like perfectly drop shut. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, you know, one of the things I like about this is having this forward choil up here, kind of at the boundary between the handle and the blade. So I like that hybrid choil there. It's not impeding too much on the cutting edge of the blade, but it's also not too far back from the blade. Yeah, it's funny. The fuller is more shallow than you kind of, at least I anticipated, but it's surprisingly easy to get good purchase and then a good deployment using the fuller. So yeah, okay. So when it comes to lock access, so you see this, there's this knurling, I guess you could call it, right here on this cutout, and there is a little bit, yeah, like it is protruding a little more. The lock bar protrudes a little more compared to the show side cutout there. So you have decent access there. It's definitely not too, I don't feel, maybe feel like the slightest bit of, let's see, like the slightest bit of friction, but I wouldn't call it lock stick between the lock bar and the tang of the blade. So yeah, ooh, just clipped my nail right there. I did not bleeding, thankfully, but just got the tip of my finger. So yeah, lock bar access is good. Detent strength, yeah, it's a little strong, at least for me. It's strong, like using the thumb stud. It feels a little strong using the thumb stud, like thumb flick, but then with the reverse flick, it feels good on the thumb stud and a little soft using the fuller, for whatever that's worth to anybody out there. So yeah, yeah, and like I don't really feel like, it doesn't seem like using the fuller for a thumb flick is very, like, yeah, it's not like, not nearly as natural as just using the thumb stud, or the thumb triangle, whatever he calls it. So yeah, let's see how the lockup is on this. So, oh yeah, that is rock solid. No play at all. So that's great. You know, not that I'm planning on hacking away at a tree with this, but all the same, it's nice having the tolerances so precise, and yeah, the assembly so good that yeah, the lockup is, you know, undeniably strong. All right, so ergonomics. I kind of briefly mentioned this forward choil. I like that because it enables you to choke up, and you know, one of the both aesthetic and functional elements that I really like about this blade is this the ramp down into the harpoon wedge there, because I like being able to choke up into here. Again, not necessarily because I'm using a knife that hard, but it's kind of satisfying to be able to choke up and bring your thumb forward like that, bring your thumb up onto the spine. So you know, in a way, not by pure aesthetics per se, but in a very similar benefit that you get with the Wee hyphen right here, which is, you know, one of my favorite knives. You know, you get to choke up here and then bring your thumb up onto the spine here, and kind of use the use the upsweep of the swedge as like a ramp or a stop for your thumb. So that's, you know, just looking at the profile of these two, you can see some similarities here, just in terms of the kind of aesthetic of the blade, which that is like the big draw for me, one of the biggest draws for me for the hyphen, and same for this Voodoo. So yeah, so ergonomics, like with in the I guess hammer grip or whatever you call a standard grip, this cutout or choil right here, at least for my finger, it feels very natural, like kind of a good kind of sucks in your finger in a way. And then right here I'm able to get my middle and ring finger or fourth finger before it swells out at the butt of the handle where my pinky wants to rest. So this is in the standard grip, and then the choked up grip, as I mentioned, thumb here, you know, index finger here, now my middle finger, and yeah, all this really melts into here. So this feels like a very it doesn't, like, there's in a way like points, like right here there's a point, right here there's a point, right here. It doesn't feel super organic, but at the same time it doesn't feel blocky, and it doesn't feel too pokey, or like it generally, I would say, feels good in hand. You know, not major hot spots like bearing down on it. It feels nice. So yeah, you know, I got the version with the micarta. This micarta is, I guess, the traction on the micarta is not very strong, at least not on that show side, but here it actually feels a little bit stronger. I think maybe that's also kind of on the contours or the curvature of the scales there. You can feel it. In terms of clip placement, so this clip, how do I display it? But basically, do I have a piece of material that I'll use the card. So if you were to put it, I think it would sit like, let's see, it would sit like this. This is like the where the clip meets the actual handle. It is slightly angled. Oh, look at that. A good thing it's just oh, I shouldn't have done that to the certificate of authority. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, the clip, it's not a true deep carry clip, but it's also, I would say, not crazy shallow, at least not in my opinion, especially relative to the overall size of the knife, I should say. So yeah. What else do we want to look at? Handle rigidity. So I think it's like a titanium. I don't know how to differentiate. Basically, like the body of the handle is titanium with these micarta scales on top. So the titanium runs all the way throughout the entire length. I think this is a titanium backspacer, I think. I don't know that for a fact. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to like, there's very, very minute like give pressing down in the part where there's no backspacer, like the least support right here, kind of between the stop pin and the backspacer. There's minor give at, like, it's negligible. So yeah, it's very strong, it seems. No real flex. Now looking inside, oh, I didn't realize that this is serialized. This is Voodoo number 239. I mean, I see it on the certificate of authority here, but I didn't realize that that they would be serialized on the knife itself. Or I didn't realize it'd be serialized at all. So it has a serial number apparently. I don't know, you know, I'm assuming he'll do later production runs. I mean, he's completely sold out except for the ones that are going to be soon to be sold via retailers. But you know, if he does future runs, I don't know if he'll continue to serialize them, but yeah, there's that. It doesn't look like there's any. Here, let me see if I can get a flashlight here. Yeah, I don't see any real skeletonization, like relief cuts within the scales. So yeah, it's definitely a weighty knife. I think that I'm not going to say. I can't remember the weight off the top of my head of this knife. It's not small. That's for sure. It's not lightweight or small. That's for sure. It's not it's not like a brick, but it's also not lightweight. And actually, kind of another knife to kind of give like some comparison to, just at least within my world, because the Mordax being kind of my biggest knife up to this point. There they are. Let's see. I mean, they're almost exactly. Like the Mordax is slightly smaller. It definitely has less cutting edge, but only by a little bit. And yeah, like it, I mean, truly like barely shorter. But yeah, this one's aluminum, so it definitely feels lighter in hand, whereas this feels a little heftier. Not crazy heftier, but a little heftier. So if you have a Mordax, that's a point of reference for you. But yeah, so I mean, let's go back to this blade real quick. So one thing I like to look at is how symmetrical, or how even the edge bevel is from tang to tip, I guess you could say. On the show side here, looks nice and even. Does look the slightest bit shallower here, closer to the choil, and like a little bit wider here, but it's not crazy. I've had knives with much worse edge bevel, so that's nice. This finish, it looks like a tumbled finish. Does it say here? Oh, it's a stone wash. Yeah, so it's a stone wash blade apparently, and this is a hollow ground blade, which is really nice in terms of getting some very good slicing performance. So actually, let's this very already cut up piece of paper. Let's see how it cuts. Yep, this is like thicker cardstock, so yeah, that cuts very smoothly. That's great. Not that I mean, this is more of this is definitely not a safe queen, but I'm not gonna be going crazy cutting a bunch of stuff with this knife. This is a knife that I like for the aesthetics and what it stands for. So I forgot to mention with ergonomics, I also like how much jimping is here along the spine. So that's nice. Very good traction there. Just an added traction for when you're really gripping it hard. But anyway, back to the blade. So it's a hollow grind, stone wash. It feels very smooth. But again, I think it's like, it might be hard to tell in this lighting, but like, yeah, within that fuller there, it's like, it seems like the blasting, if it's blasted there or treated differently than the rest of the blade, it's very uneven. I don't know if it's going to catch very well on camera. You can kind of see it there, but yeah, like it's a little shinier with like the more central, or like the furthest away from the edges of the fuller you get. But it's not the end of the world. It's not terrible. It's not something that's gonna like bug me, but it's just something to notice, like kind of inconsistent appearance. It is a M390 blade. I believe it says it right there in that very tiny font. I like how subtle that is. Yeah, and one thing to notice is, so the only like sort of billboarding, branding, whatever you'll see on the blade is his logo here, which I think is relatively tasteful. Like I like the way his logo looks, and then the placement of it is great. That's fine. And then like when the blade is deployed, there's nothing else, which I like. I like this minimalist aesthetic, and so you can see the M390 when the blade is closed. So it's a nice, like, one of the big draws for me, similar to the Hyphen, is this blade. I think I love this swedge, the look of a harpoon swedge on a Warncliffe, reverse tanto, whatever you want, a sheep's foot-y blade. I really love. I remember initially I did not love how the tip is like this clip point tip on this reverse tanto. I guess you don't see that too much, or Warncliffe, whatever. But like, I don't dislike it as much as I did before. I think overall the silhouette of this blade is just really appealing to me, and I love the fact that it is a hollow grind, like this fairly high hollow grind. It feels nice and smooth and slick. So I imagine cutting through cardboard would be very very easy, relatively speaking. Or, well, actually, should I say that? I don't know. Yeah, with the Hyphen, cutting through cardboard is pretty easy, I would say. So anyway, I mean, overall, how do I feel about this? I was kind of hoping it would be a little more drop shutty. I don't know if there, I think there is the slightest, yeah, I think there's the slightest detent ball ramp, so I don't think there's anything, yeah, I don't feel like, I do feel like in terms of the blade, the tang kind of coming against rolling up onto the detent ball, you can feel it. There is a ramp, there's a slight ramp there. So I guess maybe this blade is either not heavy enough, or yeah, he just didn't design it to drop shut. That would have been nice for me, just because I don't have a real truly drop shutty like frame lock or liner lock. But yeah, I mean, that's, I guess it's just a personal preference thing. That's not like an objective negative to this design or this knife. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't love micarta as a handle material, just because I don't want patina. I don't want this to show that much wear. But the only other options were carbon fiber, and I definitely don't like the feel of carbon fiber. So I went with this because it's black, and yeah, this was one of the two black options. It was the black bolsters with the black micarta, or it was like raw titanium bolsters with like black camo carbon or something. So I picked the micarta. So it doesn't feel bad. It's more just like micarta's not my preference. So if he ever does like some sort of like, yeah, like titanium scales or something like that, that'd be great. I'd love to get in on that. But not a big major gripe or anything like that, just something. Yeah, I'm looking forward to just getting more time, getting to flick it open at home. You know, like I work from home a lot, so I'm not going to be out and about, you know, getting to cut a million things, but, you know, opening packages and whatever, maybe even some, we'll see if maybe it's appealing to use for food prep. It's like pretty long. So yeah, yeah, I really kind of looking forward to it. Sean, I don't know if you'll ever watch this video, but in case you do, you know, I think you did a great job. You know, I'll certainly be doing a 1 month review on this, or some equivalent of that. That may not be exactly in a month, but just given how inconsistent I've been lately. But I'll do a longer term review of this after I've gotten some time to handle it and appreciate it more, and yeah, get a feel for where, you know, strengths and weaknesses and such. So yeah, hopefully you found this informative. Yeah, if you're interested in getting one, seriously, go to Null Knives Instagram. I think is where it was. He announced that he announced the specific retailers where he would be releasing them. So get in on that if you are really interested in picking up one of these. You know, so far I would give it a recommend, but you know, time will tell. So yeah, apologies again for the long delays between uploads, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you later. Take care. Bye.